So Joe Biden did what I would classify as a soft vaccine mandate. For businesses with 100 employees or more, you either need to get the vaccine or get tested once a week. He's giving people outs. I think that's totally reasonable. But, so you had the right, of course, go after him relentlessly. But surprisingly, liberal elite circles, mainstream media, they're also not too happy with Joe Biden and his speech on this. Take a look.
There's the question of coercion, and there's a question of persuasion, and you see him moving from persuasion to coercion. He took on a scolding tone, talking to the people who are unvaccinated, talking about how, people's patience is running out, talking about this mandate. And I don't know, as a matter of politics, unless, of course, the goal was to get all these Republican governors and politicians to come out against this, I don't know that that was not predictable. This is part of the American public. This is part of the ethos in this country. People don't want big government telling them what to do. Now, the difference between now and back then is now the anti-science component of our society is bigger. And it has, there are grifters, there are people who are using this for ratings, for clicks, all sorts of, for votes. And so I haven't yet really seen the Biden administration talk or try to address this. I don't think scolding is the approach. There are these purveyors of misinformation out there, and they're not just on the right. Robert Kennedy Jr. is one of the most notorious ones. And I haven't seen the president or anyone say, look, people, he's scolding the people that are being lied to as opposed to the liars. You know what I mean? Like, instead of saying there are a bunch of people just trying to get your money, trying to get your attention, trying to get your votes, trying to get your views and clicks, they're lying to you. Instead of shaming the liars and trying to educate the people being lied to, he's scolding the people being lied to. And again, as with the election lie, you can get mad at the people who believe the lies, but the villains are the liars.
I watched the entire speech. In my opinion, he wasn't shaming, he wasn't scolding, he was being honest. That's it. Well, all of a sudden, as soon as he says something true and accurate and factual, all of a sudden, everybody's a snowflake. The right-wingers melt down, and the liberal media, which has backed Biden to the hilt every time he does something wrong, now they're like, ooh, what about the feelings of Alex Jones viewers? Ooh! Well, you're never going to convince Alex Jones viewer anyway. Now, it is true. I do have more sympathy for the people getting lied to than I do for the, people who are lying. Of course. But I'm sure Biden agrees with that as well. All he was doing in that speech was being honest. Hey guys, just so you know, we gave you a really long time here. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is effective. The vaccine has saved. There was a report that came out. Over 200,000 lives have already been saved by the vaccine. Not a surprise, because how many lives have been saved by the polio vaccine and the smallpox vaccine and measles and mumps and rubella? And we know that as a matter of fact. So of course it would be the same thing for the COVID vaccine. So all he's saying is, hey guys, this is safe. This is effective. This works. This isn't just about you individually. This is about the community and the collective and everybody's health. And so I'm going to give you the option. Either vaccine or get a test every week. But there you have it again. Jake Tapper's doing the same thing that conservative media is doing. He's pretending like there isn't a choice, like there isn't an option. He's giving you an option. He just said there's coercion and there's persuasion, and now Biden is doing coercion. It's not coercion to say, get the vaccine, but if you don't want to, you don't have to. Here's another option for you. How is that coercion? On what planet is that coercion? Everybody's being dishonest. Everybody's being disingenuous. It's driving me absolutely crazy. He used a scolding tone. He didn't use a scolding tone. He was being honest with people. He was telling them the truth. And when he said, just so everybody understands, vaccinated Americans are sort of fed up now with the unvaccinated Americans because this is a pandemic of the unvaccinated. You have over 95% protection from hospitalization and death if you get the vaccine. So the hospitals absolutely are full of unvaccinated patients with COVID. Absolutely. There have been people who have died waiting for a bed for other procedures. Now, how are people going to react when 70% of the country's had at least one shot? How are they going to react when they look at that story? What are they going to do? What are they going to say? Everybody's thinking it. Everybody's looking at it going, that person should have got vaccinated and that bed should have been available for the person who was in the hospital for the other reason. That's what they're thinking. And you know what? They're correct. And I don't care how much, oh, my feelings! Oh, my feels! You hurt me personally and emotionally and psychologically by telling me accurate things. I don't care about your feelings. I don't care. I don't care. There's all the evidence in the world is out there that explains in detail why this is the right way to go. We've covered the studies on this show. Go back and look at the secular talk segments on the vaccine. You know, I couldn't have been more clear. I showed you the graphs and the charts every step of the way. Hey, look, here's the hospitalization rate. Among the unvaccinated, it goes like this. Among the vaccinated, it goes like this. Game, set, match, son. Over, done. There was that great, and usually I'm not a fan of Vox, but this was a rare instance where I think they did a great job. Vox had a great piece explaining why the vaccines are all massively effective. Did you know in the original trials with the original variant, not a single person was hospitalized or died after they had got vaccinated? That's for the studies for the Pfizer one, the Moderna one, the AstraZeneca one, and the Johnson & Johnson one. Nobody was hospitalized and nobody died. Gee, I wonder if it works. And this is one of those things, this isn't partisan. Donald Trump did Operation Warp Speed. Donald Trump cut a lot of the red tape in order to get this thing done and streamlined. For all the Trump supporters out there, take yes for an answer. Own the giant W for Donald. What are you doing? Look at what went on. Look at the evidence. Look at the data. Look at the facts. It's going to help you. It's going to be good. I promise you. And you know what? If at the end of the day you still don't want to get the vaccine, fine. But take a test once a week. That's it. Everybody's so hyperbolic and annoying. Coercion and persuasion. He's now doing coercion and not persuasion. He's being honest with people and he's giving them a very fair, reasonable, open-minded choice. I'll say it one more time. If Joe Biden came out and said, I am making everybody get the vaccine, it's just a national mandate, flat national mandate, I would oppose it. I think that goes too far. I don't think the same government that did Japanese internment, nuked civilians, did a Native American genocide, did torture, Guantanamo Bay, extraordinary rendition, got rid of due process and habeas corpus, spied on all Americans with the NSA, lied us into multiple wars. I don't think that government, totally bought and owned by corporations, has earned our trust. I don't think they've earned our trust. So if they said, everybody's got to take the vaccine, I'd say, too far, can't do that, shouldn't be able to do that. Same government that did the Tuskegee experiments is going to be looking out for everybody's health. It's absurd. You have to give people the wiggle room to say, I don't want to do it. But that's what Biden did, so I support him. As I said a million times, this is a rare instance where this is actually correct. The vaccine actually works. It helps. And this is a rare instance where the government actually is looking out for you. Just like with seatbelts. How many lives have seatbelts saved? The government did seatbelts. Were they wrong doing that? No, they were right doing that. So this is something that's going to save you. This is something that's going to help you. So the default should be you're getting the vaccine. You should get the vaccine. But if you want to wiggle out of it, fine. We just got to put a few roadblocks in your way to let you know it's going to be a little bit of work to get out of the way. Same way when you send your kid to public school, they say you have to have vaccinations for measles and mumps and rubella and smallpox and polio and all these different things. So does your kid have to get the vaccine? No. But if they want to go to the public school, they have to. So maybe you have to homeschool them if you don't want them getting the vaccines. I think that's a fair trade-off. I do. Okay, you don't want the kid getting the vaccine? Fine. It's going to be a little more difficult for you. You're going to have to homeschool them. But you have the freedom to choose that if you want to choose that. Same thing with this. You don't want to get the vaccine? Fine. But you're going to have to take a test every week. You're going to have to take a test every week. And do I feel bad about that? No, I think it's a wonderful thing. I take joy in the tiny hurdles we put in your way if you don't want to be a responsible citizen and care about the collective and communal good. I take joy in that. Sorry. Actually, no, I'm not at all. Not even a little bit. I'm correct to feel this way. So, anyway, he couldn't have been more reasonable. He couldn't have been more honest and straightforward. And even liberal elite media, who usually have his back every time he does something wrong, they turn on him. He's using a scolding tone. He's using coercion and persuasion. He's using coercion instead of persuasion. This is the first time ever that CNN has been on the side of the Alex Jones viewer. You know, all of a sudden they care deeply about the fifis. of conservative fringe extremists. And by the way, some on the left. He's right. RFK Jr. is a notorious anti-vaxxer, and he's on the left. And there are some. I mean, listen, in my opinion, the instinct on the left to be anti-vax, I get where it comes from. Everybody correctly points out that Big Pharma is corrupt, and they bought the government, and they're greedy, and all they care about is endless profit, and they don't give a shit about you. All that is true. That's all true. But antibiotics still work. So Big Pharma sucks, but they also make antibiotics which work. Like both of those things can be true at the same time. And that's where people struggle. They feel like, well, if Big Pharma is bad, then everything they do must be bad by definition. They make all the drugs, and there's somebody out there who's been taking a drug that prevents them from getting a seizure or prevents them from getting a heart attack or helps treat illness X, Y, or Z. And Big Pharma can suck and be greedy and be terrible and be corrupt, but also that medicine is saving lives. Both of those things are true. And so that's how I've always felt in regards to vaccines. It's easy to let your skepticism turn to cynicism, and then you think everything from that portion of society is wrong and is not helpful. And that's just not true. And oftentimes the people on the left who are against even basic Big Pharma drugs and medicine, they're all in on like alternative medicine, which there's a reason why they call alternative medicine alternative. It didn't make the cut to be medicine. So there's even less evidence and less data to show that the alternative stuff is correct. That same skepticism you use when it comes to Big Pharma, use that same skepticism when it comes to alternative medicine. Make sure that the shit works. Make sure that it's real. Because most of the stuff is not. It's bullshit. And they're lying to you. We covered a story on this show where supplements that you would get at Vitamin Shop or GNC or wherever, the overwhelming majority of the supplements don't even have the shit it says on the label in it. It's like rice powder and soy powder. They just put bullshit in there, and it's all the placebo effect, if that. So just use your brain. For the love of God, use your brain. And from the studies I've seen on the vaccine, it's safe, it's effective, works. Obviously worked better with the Alpha variant, but with the Delta variant, still working, at least in the most important way, which is protection from severe illness, hospitalization, and death. So Biden's correct. Liberal media turned on him. Conservatives are still beating him up. But I couldn't have imagined a more reasonable policy. Get vaccinated or take a test. It's not that difficult.